Welcome to the American Dream Team podcast.
Hi, welcome to the American Dream Team podcast with Ahmad Yakzan. I'm Matt Sky. Ahmad is a seasoned Tampa-based immigration attorney helping clients nationwide with deportation defense, green card applications, asylum claims, and more. Ahmad, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
So let's jump right in. Can you share your journey to the United States and the challenges you faced as an immigrant striving to achieve your own dreams?
My journey very close to millions of people's journeys who came to the United States to just better themselves. When I was 15 years old, I started having this dream of coming to the United States to become an attorney. And that journey has taken me over oceans, made me stay away from my family for 17 and a half years until I was able to return. The journey took a long time. When I left Lebanon when I was 18, my sister was in first grade, and when I had gone back, she had graduated college, and I missed 17 and a half years of her life. The journey that I was on took a lot of turns. A lot of times I was ready to give up and go back to Lebanon and give up on my dream of becoming an attorney. And in the United States, it's really the land of opportunity. People just kept helping me to go and get my goals. So did 4 degrees, including 3 graduate degrees at Stetson University and Stetson University College of Law. It took me 11 years to graduate from college, then went through a period of employment, then got my green card, and then got my citizenship a couple of years ago. The journey took a very long time, but I'm a testament that if you have a dream in the United States, if you work hard enough and you fight for what you believe in and what you want to achieve in the United States, you can actually do it. And the poster child for the American dream. And that's why I called my law firm the American Dream Law Office when I started it in 2015.
Well, it's an incredible personal story, and it sounds like it's been a lot of sacrifice, to say the least. What inspired you to establish the American Dream Law Office in Tampa, Florida? And I think you touched on this, but maybe let's review again your core mission.
The core mission is really to help people who are just like me, trying to be able to be legal here in the United States, or immigration status is a big part of the American dream. If you don't have immigration status in the United States, you can't do a lot of things. You can't get a driver's license in a lot of states. You can't work. You can't help your family. Even if you have American citizen children, you won't be able to help them. You'll be constrained to, low-end jobs. You won't be able to do a lot of things. You won't be able to achieve your dreams. So that American Dream Law Office, the mission of my office is to help people legalize for them to be able to achieve their American dream. It's a big part, as I said, of the American dream, and that is the core mission. Our mission also is to fight the problem with a lot of immigration attorneys, and a lot of them are my colleagues. A lot of them just don't fight. They don't have the fight in them. A lot of people just give up. If there's no way to do the case, they just give up and do nothing for the client. And for about 9 years now, since 2015, we've been fighting for people. We've been on their side. We've won a lot of cases that a lot of seasoned attorneys told me to just give up on, and you're never gonna win those cases, so just give up. So I don't give up like everybody else. I just keep fighting for people. That's really our core mission. Fighting for the American dream is at the heart of what we do every day.
And it's interesting what you say, that you've been able to win cases where others have failed. What's involved in giving that extra fight? What does that take, and maybe tactically and also just in terms of determination? What's involved?
A big part of it is I see myself in these people. So if I hadn't fought for my dream and I kept going, and I would have just given up. And I have gone through every single step of the immigration process, from being a student all the way to becoming a U.S. citizen. So the fight is really the main ingredient. Believing your client deserves that American dream is another ingredient of the fight. I recently had a case where the person is from Cuba, and he had gotten caught with trafficking marijuana in the 1980s, and he just took a plea and got deported for smuggling 40 pounds of marijuana. Now, that's a huge case. It's a very complicated case. And a lot of attorney would have said, okay, just stay the way you are. He's elderly. He has to go to ICE every 6 months. He has to do a lot of things that just burden his life. And taken that burden from him when I was able to reopen his case and take away that removal order that he had since 1990. That just took a lot of work, but it also allowed him to get a step closer to that American dream that he's been fighting on since literally before I was born. So that is the main ingredient in what we do, is we just don't give up, and we find a way to do what the client is trying to do and achieve their American dream through going through the immigration process.
Immigration is very top of mind in this particular election cycle. How do you believe President Biden's recent announcement on reform for undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens will impact the immigrant community?
I say this to a lot of people. The problem that we have in the United States is we don't have a long-term vision on what kind of people we want to immigrate to the United States. Unfortunately, a lot of our immigration system right now deals with the family side of immigration, allowing people to remain in the United States. If you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, you get priority over other people. But we don't have a long-term vision of trying to keep people that we educate in the United States here in the United States. So we lose a lot of our graduates actually by having them leave the country after they stay here for literally decades getting educated. Now, what the president did last week, and I have a lot of videos on that issue, is try to help on two aspects of immigration law. Obviously, that does not take away from the fact that Congress needs to pass a law to allow the millions of people that we have in the United States who are undocumented. But the president does two things in that executive order that that he hasn't signed yet, but that's going to be implemented at the end of summer. So what he's doing is he's taking care of some of the dreamers. He's saying that some employers that want to hire those dreamers are going to be able to give them work visas, for example, and the State Department will be able to allow them to leave the country and come back under advance parole for them to be able to get that work visa. Now, that will take care of one part of our problem in the United States, that we have a lot of dreamers, almost 1 million dreamers in the United States that literally cannot get jobs that they deserve to get because they were educated, they're college graduates. All of these things. I literally had a consultation with someone who is a rocket scientist who is on DACA and he's not able to get a job. So that is one part of the executive order that the president is thinking about signing. The second part of the executive order is to help people who are here in the United States, who've been here for more than 10 years, but they came in an irregular way, which means that they just crossed the border. They didn't get admitted or inspected. And under the current law right now, you are actually not allowed to get a green card or permanent residence in the United States if you came in irregularly. So the parole in place has been used for about 10 years to help spouses of military members to be able to adjust their status here in the United States. So what the president is going to do is going to expand that parole in place program to allow people who came in without inspection to be able to adjust their status here in the United States without having to leave. The current process that we have, President Obama put it together about 12 years ago, allows people to get a waiver of illegal presence here in the United States, and then they have to leave the country after they get that waiver. And unfortunately, I have heard of a lot of people who did everything right, got the waiver, but when they went back to their country to get the green card, there were other issues that were not waived, and they ended up getting stuck in their country without the ability of coming back to the United States. And that is a huge burden to put on American families. So, and in addition to that, to the threat of being, away from your family, is the process right now is taking 4 to 5 years to finish. So for 4 to 5 years, you're not able to stay with your family. You're not able to work. You're not able to support your family. Even if you have US citizen children, you're not able to help them. So by allowing people to adjust their status here in the United States, it will allow them to get work permits. It will allow them to get driver's licenses. It will allow them to do all of these things that they could not do, and they have to wait for a very long time under the current process that we have. So I really admire what the president is doing, but unfortunately, that program, after it's implemented, only going to help about 500,000 people. That's what the estimates that we have, out of about probably 16 to 20 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. And a lot of people are not going to qualify for it because they haven't been here in the United States for 10 years, which is the amount of time that the president announced a person has to be here in the country before they could take advantage of that program. So that doesn't take away from Congress's job to actually pass comprehensive immigration reform, but this is a real step in the right direction to help a lot of people who we try to help every single day, but we're not able to because, again, of the threat of having to leave the country and not be able to come back after they leave the country.
Now, you come at this from a very unique vantage point, having had your own immigration journey. Can you provide an example on how that experience has influenced your work as an attorney, maybe a specific case?
So as I said earlier, I went through the whole process from being a non-immigrant on an F1, getting a work permit after I graduated, after every single degree that I got here in the United States. So I understand if the client is going through an F1 extension or a student visa extension, I understand where they're coming from. I'm able to help them with their work permits and staying in status because, again, I went through that whole process for 11 years. If they want to apply for an H-1B visa, I went through that process too. I went through the process of applying for my green card through a labor certification and having to prove that no one can do my job. And I also got my citizenship after I got my green card, 5 years after I got my green card. So those experiences help me connect with each client that I have and understand from their vantage point what they're trying to do. I know a lot of immigration attorneys have that same experience, but what I add to it is, again, having that passion for immigration law and knowing what that American dream means for each client. That and having that fight to get to that American dream is what really distinguishes my office from somebody else's office, because we fight until we actually get the job done. You asked me about some individual cases, and I've had so many of them. One of the cases that I actually absolutely love mentioning is I'm a victim of domestic violence myself. And when I have clients who come in to do Violence Against Women Act petition, I really empathize with them and understand that when a spouse holds that green card over your head, it means the world to you, and it's a loved one who's trying to control your life. So I had a case where the abuse was so bad that my client developed a lot of psychological issues that we had to deal with. We had to send her to a therapist to deal with them, and she's still actually going through that process of getting over the abuse until today. But we were able to get her the immigrant visa petition approved. Then we were able to get her the green card. And that moment when I went to her naturalization ceremony is worth millions of dollars to me, just knowing that she's actually finally safe here in the United States.
So you have that personal experience. Can you detail for us a little more of your professional achievements and how that shaped your career?
Probably one of the most educated people in the state of Florida. Let's just put it that way. I went to a great institution called Stetson University. I was here by myself for a very long time, for 17 and a half years, as I mentioned earlier. And they adopted me and they helped me achieve, and they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and I had a moment of doubt that I would not be able to reach my goal. I have been able to achieve so many things in this country. I was able to take a self-guided tour of Congress. I was able to get sworn in front of the Supreme Court. I was able to graduate and become a member of the bar in two bar associations and a bunch of other bar associations that I belong to. All of these achievements would not have really been possible anywhere else in the world. I am lucky to be in this country, and I know that a lot of people around the world would love to trade places with me, but those achievements that I have had would not have been possible in any other country other than the United States.
So as we wrap up, if you have one key piece of advice for young immigrants aspiring to achieve their own American dream, what would that be?
Don't give up. Don't ever give up in this country. The fight is 90% of your journey to the American dream. Keep fighting. Have the right people on your side. I know it's cheaper to hire a notary to help you get your green card or your citizenship or whatever it is. Have the right advice on your side. Hire an attorney to get you where you want to get. Don't settle for less than excellent. Don't give up, and have the right advisors, and you will be probably on your road to get your American dream one day.
Well, on that note, thank you everyone so much for tuning in to the American Dream Team podcast. For more information or to schedule a strategy session with Ahmad Yakzan, visit AmericanDreamLawOffice.com or find them on social media. Ahmad, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.